Tom, let me start with you. What are we gleaning from these latest numbers?
So 508 new cases out of China today. So you're looking at a total now in terms of infection rates here in China at 77,658. In terms of the death rate, you're looking at 2,663 people have now died in total in China throughout the course of this virus. Now let's zero in on those additional cases. 508 for today. That compares to 409 for yesterday. So an increase in the numbers, as you said, but still it does continue to suggest that there is a moderation now in terms of the infection rate in China, at least if you do believe the data coming out of the government there. We have, of course, had the warnings from experts that as some of the travel restrictions are removed in some of these provinces and people are encouraged to go back to work, you could see an additional spike in infections. So that is the warning. The World Health Organization, interestingly, yesterday saying that if China hadn't implemented some of these very draconian restriction measures that you've seen put in place in Hubei and other provinces, then you could have seen tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of additional cases.
And Yvonne, as we get news of yet more cases in South Korea, taking that total to almost 900 cases in that country, this has really become a global concern, isn't it? Everywhere from Italy to Iran seeing cases.
Yeah, and the concern now is that this outbreak outside of China is going to spark a second peak in this epidemic. You mentioned the latest numbers out of Korea. Now that we're hitting close to 900 now, that means that's going to be the biggest outbreak outside of China and even surpassing Japan if you include those infected cases on that Diamond Princess cruise ship. So that is significant. At least 8 deaths have been reported in South Korea right now. And you have more than a dozen or so countries that have issued tighter travel restrictions for people that are traveling from South Korea. Japan, we also heard from the finance minister, Taro Aso, in the last couple of minutes saying no new economic measures for now when it comes to the response to this virus. This was after local media was citing that perhaps they would implement some new measures. They're saying they're still monitoring the effects of what they currently have in terms of fighting this outbreak. Italy as well has been really the hotspot in Europe. They are now seeing more than 200 cases there. And essentially you do have the prosperous regions in the up